Hey guys, Meteorologist Chris Tomer here with this mountain weather update on this Wednesday afternoon. My first stop is up to Alta, Utah, Little Cottonwood Canyon. Obviously still a ton of snow up there at higher elevations, but it's a beautiful day. I included Alta and Utah in general in the Wasatch because I actually have about a foot of snow in my forecast. And I'll talk more about that coming up in the two storm systems, potentially three, but two at this time, that will produce that kind of snowfall. So let me go into my bullet points. There are two storm systems through 5/11, maybe a third. Not sure yet. The thing is, we're going to have higher snow levels. This is inevitable, the inevitability of spring. So that will temper some of the snow forecast and some of the totals and the amounts because the levels will be high leading into this event, and they'll probably stay pretty high. Then we're going to see high pressure take over the west and a big ridge of it, a big dome between somewhere 512 to 518, maybe even beyond that. But that's how this pattern's going to transition. So it's really now through about 511 that we're going to see most of this action take place. All right, let me show you water vapor. So oranges and reds on this represent drier air aloft. This snail's pace low has been sitting in California for a couple of 3 days. That's the first storm of the bunch. So another one behind it, and potentially another one back here. All of this riding pretty good northern branch. And then, so that moves in behind it, and another one comes in behind that. I did write about this this afternoon, published this this afternoon, christomer.com. Forecast freezing levels, wind and snow. I take a look at all that. There's your view from Alta, the view of the Alta from Alta this afternoon. Forecast freezing levels, the daily max and min and the Wasatch, I go all the way out to 5.8. And you can see leading into these fronts, pretty high snow levels. Even the mins in the morning are like 77, 7,900, in the afternoons. Most we can get it to drop is 9,000. So 10,000 in the afternoon on 5.7, 5.8's 92. So we're talking pretty high. Colorado Central Mountain Zones, they're all high. Look at that, 12.5, 13, 11.5, 11.7. So definitely springtime. When we talk about snow accumulations in spring, May in particular, they're going to be at the higher elevations. The biggest numbers are all going to be way high up, the highest of elevations. Forecast wind gusts, I detail Quandary Peak in Colorado, Mount Superior in Utah. Take a look at that. Forecast pattern. Now, I've got 3 phases of this I want to go through. We'll start on 5.8. Notice trough of low pressure over the Pacific, the jet from west to east, bringing that moisture into the interior, into Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and Colorado, and of course the Pacific Northwest. So that's 5.8. Here's 5.10. That low now moving through Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, and Colorado. So those areas would be getting snow. Here's 5.12. Now, I talked about the possibility of a third low. That low, that third low could be moving through the northern tier states, but there's still a little kink in the jet over Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado. So it's either the second low, which stalls, or potentially a third low moving through that branch of the jet. But after 5.12, we'd get a pretty good surge of high pressure in pretty much all of the West, except for British Columbia. So that's really the end of it. Whatever snow we get has to fall between now and 5.12, and then high pressure comes in. Okay, let's go back to the blog here. So I went into forecast timing. I'll take this full. So by Thursday, here's what we're looking at. That low in California finally breaks loose, moves snow into the interior through 5.6, 5.7. Second low comes in from the Pacific Northwest, re-energizes 5.8, 5.9. You can see that heading through Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, northern Utah. And again, there may be one other low past this, or this low would stall for a couple of extra days. So that's the way I see it. All right, back to the blog here. Forecast totals. I did a breakout for Alta, and my numbers on my forecast chart, if you want to see that, are tempered because of the high rain snow line. But, So the numbers on my forecast, and I'll take that full in a second, are really middle of the road. These numbers would potentially be worst case. Very high elevations, we could be looking at well over a foot, between 1 and 2 feet. If, you take this would be worst case. 6 plus on the 7th would be a big day. 6 plus on the 9th would be a big day. 5/11 would be big. So we'll have to see. It's very tricky this time of the year with high snow levels. Let me take my forecast full so you can see it. 5/3 through 5/12. 1 to 4 in Colorado, but potentially a foot in Little Cottonwood and Big Cottonwood Canyons. Now, that's middle of the road. Again, like I was saying, worst case would be 1 to 2 feet. About 6 inches up in the Tetons, Big Sky, and looking at about 5 to 15 Mammoth, Heavenly, up to Shasta. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this Wednesday afternoon update. Take care, and thank you for tuning in here.